I've been in the fear removal business for over 30 years, not as a therapist, as a martial arts instructor. When a student is getting punched in the face, we don't have time for theory. We don't have sessions to explore our feelings. We don't have time to sit with it. We have seconds to identify the root problem and fix it, or the student quits. That pressure taught me something that most people never learn. Fear hides itself in distractions. And while you're busy putting out small fires, you never accomplish your real purpose. This video is about everything I've learned about fear and the exact system that I use to dismantle it in myself and thousands of students. Now, before we talk about what fear is, let me show you how it works. I used to run a leadership course at my studio. Early in the program, I'd give students a simple drill. If I had 10 students in the course, I would assign one leader and I'd give him one simple task to complete. Before we started, I'd send the leader out of the room. Then I'd assign chaos to everyone else. One student would do 2 moves, then raise his hand and ask to go to the bathroom. One student would use the opposite hand for every technique. One student would do the exact opposite of whatever the leader said. One student would follow directions exactly, and one student would completely ignore the leader. Then I brought the leader back in. It was always the same. The leader would try to start the first move and immediately see a problem that I created. Then they'd stop to correct it. While correcting that one, they'd notice another one. Then the bathroom request would come. Then another issue. They were busy, they were moving, they were correcting, they were responding, but nothing was getting done, especially the simple task I gave them to do. That's exactly how fear operates in your life. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up and say, hey, I'm fear and I'm here to stop you. It shows up as distraction, confusion, procrastination, delay, little fires that feel urgent, problems that seem real. And while you're putting out those little fires, you never get to your actual purpose. You feel productive, you feel busy, but you're definitely not moving. That's the game fear plays, and most people never realize that they're even playing it. Now, what actually is fear? Fear is a root cause. It was originally designed to keep us alive, to make us pay attention in moments that could get us killed. We still use it for that, but only in a tiny way. In modern times, fear doesn't just protect you from lions. It controls your productivity by creating endless urgent tasks that go nowhere. Your relationships by making vulnerability feel dangerous. Your ability to learn by punishing mistakes instead of using them. Who you become by keeping you too distracted to find out. And whether you ever find your purpose by convincing you that the small fires are the purpose. If fear was a demon, it's the most powerful one, and its job is simple: to make sure you do not live your purpose. Now, how does it pull that off? By hiding the truth. In life or death situations, fear is clear. A lion is charging. Run. But modern fear doesn't operate in life or death clarity. It operates in ambiguity. You have endless options for what the problem could be. You're forced to guess, and when you guess, you look at symptoms instead of the cause. You wind up solving the wrong problem over and over again. That's not an accident. That's the design of it. Fear survives by keeping you distracted, by making you believe the small fires are the problem, by convincing you that you just handled this one issue, then you'll move forward. But you never do, because you're not addressing the root. Now, you've heard people talk about having a breakthrough or a paradigm shift. Those words get thrown around like they're mystical experiences. They're not. A breakthrough is what happens when you finally see past fear's distraction and identify the real problem. It's when you stop putting out fires and realize the fires were never the issue. It feels empowering because you just reclaim time, energy, and control that you'd been given away to symptoms. And a paradigm shift is when you realize you've been operating under invisible rules that were never yours, and you stop obeying them. Both are the same thing. You stop letting fear hide the truth. The system I'm about to give you is designed to create those moments on demand, not wait for them to happen by accident. You need a system, not motivation, not hype, and not inspiration. A repeatable process that works under pressure. So here's the 6 ingredients that I've used for 3 decades. They work in sequence, they build on each other, and they're designed to cut through the fear's BS as fast as possible. Ingredient number 1 is Will. This is your desire to make a change, to find your purpose and move forward. But here's the key. Never make your will about benefiting only you. My technique is to focus on change that benefits someone else. Why? Because fear can't use selfishness against you. It can't whisper, but what if you fail? What if you look stupid when your goal isn't about you? Here's an example. I started my channel to help you understand character building. If it gets monetized someday, great. That's a byproduct, but it's not the focus. The focus is whether this information helps you to move forward. When your will is aimed outward, fear loses its primary leverage. Ingredient number 2 is agency. This is the belief that you are in control and capable of making decisions without external validation. You are in charge of you. I had a non-negotiable rule as a martial arts instructor. Anytime you get hit, it's your fault, not the opponent's fault. They were trying to hit you. That's their job. It wasn't my fault. I didn't make your decision. It's your face, your choice. If it's important to you, protect it. Students hated this rule at first. Then they realized it was the most freeing thing that I ever taught them. Because if it's always your fault, then you always have control. You're never a victim. You're never at the mercy of circumstances. You're the variable that determines the outcome. Agency makes you stop outsourcing responsibility for your results. And the moment you do that, you can actually fix the problem. Ingredient number 3 is faith. This is the belief that you're going to figure out without needing validation or proof. You need truth. That's ingredient number 5. Not approval, not consensus, not permission. Faith is believing things will work out better in the future without any evidence that that's true. Here's what that looks like in practice. A student gets hit in the face for the 10th time in a row. They can't see the punch coming. They don't know if they ever will, but they keep coming back the next day anyway. That's faith. Not because they feel good about being punched in the face, not because someone promised them results, because they believe that if they keep searching for the truth, they'll find it. Some people say that they want to move forward, but they're actually terrified of what they'll discover, because finding the real issue means you have to change. Faith is what keeps you searching even when the truth is uncomfortable. Ingredient number 4 is curiosity and anger. This ingredient powers your search for the truth. Curiosity is the motive and anger is the energy. Specifically, anger at the fact that the fear affected you at all. You're insulted, you're offended, you're pissed off that you gave into it. When I catch myself avoiding something, I get angry because I know better. I view giving into fear as weakness, and I hate weakness. That anger drives me to figure out what's actually happened. I'll explore it. Why am I doing this? This makes no sense. And the moment I realize fear is involved, the anger kicks in. Then I hunt down the truth so I can kill the fear. You need both emotions working together. Curiosity without anger, you'll explore the problem casually and give up when it gets uncomfortable. Anger without curiosity, you'll just be pissed off without any direction. And why anger? If you could choose any emotion that gets you to want to do something about it, what would it be? Would sadness get the job done? Would happiness? I mean, frustration might, but it has to build over time. It seemed to me, and especially in fighting, that anger towards my performance, not towards the other person, is what got me to fix problems quickly. Together, they move you toward ingredient number 5 with force. Ingredient number 5 is truth. This is the relentless pursuit of the truth, not your truth. The problem that I have with your truth is that it's usually just a symptom that you're most comfortable blaming. Finding the truth requires testing. Here's how I do it with students. A student gets hit and I ask them, why did you get hit? I ask for 10 possible reasons. They give me 10 believable answers. Well, I didn't see it coming, but your eyes were open. My opponent was too fast, but they're the same level as you. I was thinking about what? Not getting hit. I couldn't move, but you moved right after you got hit. My eyes were closed. I turned my head. I'm too slow. Then I ask questions about each one. And always buried somewhere in the middle of the list is the real answer. They say, I was scared. Students don't want to say that. It feels weak. It's embarrassing. So they dress it up in technical language. They make it sound like a mechanical issue instead of an emotional one. But every single answer on that list is just a creative way to avoid admitting fear. Here's the test. If addressing the problem doesn't fix the issue, you addressed a symptom. If you fix your footwork and still get hit, footwork wasn't the problem. If you work on seeing punches better and still get hit, visibility wasn't the problem. If fixing the problem actually fixes the issue, that was the truth. This is why most people never solve their real problems. They're solving the wrong thing over and over. Ingredient number 6 is eliminate the BS. This is about becoming an expert at identifying the truth on your very first try, not your 10th. Most people need 10 guesses because they're scared of what the first guess will reveal. Your job is to skip the 9 believable lies and go straight to the uncomfortable truth. I tell students, just start with fear. Just assume that's the issue. Don't dance around it. Don't explore it. Don't explore alternatives. Don't give yourself permission to ease into it. Start there, because 95% of the time you'll be right. And the 5% of the time that you're wrong, you'll know immediately, because addressing the fear that you're claiming won't fix the problem and you'll just adjust. When you can identify the truth on your first attempt, you stop wasting time. You stop negotiating with symptoms. You move forward faster. Some people call this being in flow state. I call it being on the cutting edge of your personal evolution. You're not stumbling toward growth, you're sprinting. Now, there's one more step before fear can actually be dismantled. You have to identify the specific fear, not the category, not the label, not the comfortable version you tell yourself, the real one. You can't confront what you refuse to define. When I first started this channel and started recording videos, I told myself, I am scared to death of microphones. That sounded reasonable. I felt it was believable. It was easy to say, but it wasn't true. I am not afraid of microphones. I've spoken in front of rooms full of people for decades. I've corrected adults twice my size on the mat in front of their peers. I've led seminars. I've handled confrontation without hesitation. A microphone was not the issue. So I explored it. If it wasn't the microphone, what was it? The answer was pretty uncomfortable. I was afraid of permanence. Once my thoughts were recorded, they would exist outside of me. I mean, I couldn't pull them back. I couldn't clarify them in the moment. I couldn't adjust them depending on who was listening. They would just simply exist. And deeper than that, I was afraid of that responsibility. When your thoughts are recorded and distributed to people that I've never met, you own them. You are accountable for them. They can't be replayed, examined, tested, critiqued. That weight felt real. That was the fear, not the microphone. Responsibility. Once I identified the actual fear, it lost its power. Responsibility is not dangerous, it's growth. And permanence is not a threat, it's accountability. But I could not dismantle it until I named it precisely. Because you can't fight something you won't define. Most people stop at the label. I'm afraid of public speaking. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of failure. Those are categories. They're vague enough to sound true without forcing you to confront anything specific. But underneath those categories is the actual fear. Embarrassment, exposure, looking incompetent, losing control, being permanently attached to an outcome that you can't take back. Fear survives in vague language, and it hides in general statements. You dismantle it by forcing it into specifics. Only when you identify the exact fear can you confront it honestly. And most of the time, when you finally name it clearly, you realize it was never about danger. It was about change. Remember the leadership drill from the beginning? The task was simple. The chaos was artificial. The distractions were just noise. But the leader couldn't complete the task because they never stopped putting out fires long enough to see what they were actually supposed to do. Your life works the same way. Your purpose is simple. The distractions feel real. The fires feel urgent, but they're just symptoms. And while you're putting them out, you're never addressing the root. Fear was designed to protect your life. Somewhere along the way, it expanded beyond that role. It attached itself to identity, to reputation, to productivity, to purpose. It stopped saying, hey, that could kill you, and started saying, that could embarrass you, that could expose you, that could change you. And most people obey it without ever testing it. The goal is not to eliminate fear entirely. The goal is to reduce it back to its original function. When fear only speaks in moments of real danger and not in moments of growth, everything changes. You think clearly, you decide faster, you move with intention, you stop putting out imaginary fires, you stop negotiating with invisible rules, you stop hiding behind believable explanations, you start living on purpose. Fear will always exist, but it does not get authority over who you become. It's information, not instruction. The decision is still yours. The task is simple. Stop putting out fires and start completing tasks. Share this with everyone you know who's stuck and subscribe for more.